I know if Nolan was here, he'd be like, Mom, just keep talking to the people, keep telling my story, keep telling your story. So that is going to be my plan.
How does a healthy 18-year-old athlete travel to an island with hundreds of people on it and simply vanish? How does everyone he came with make it home safely while he washes up on the shoreline 2 days later? And why would a grieving family need to raise $125,000 just to find out what happened to their own son? These are the questions surrounding the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. And here's what makes this different. I'm not going to tell you what people said. I have the actual recordings, the eulogy inside that church, the mother's voice at the microphone, the attorney's full breakdown of the evidence captured on tape. You're going to hear it all for yourself. And by the end, you'll understand why this case has America holding its breath. Before we go any further, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to True Crime Vic, because this story is still unfolding, and you don't want to miss what comes next.
I know if Nolan was here, he'd be like, Mom, just keep talking to the people, keep telling my story, keep telling your story. So that is going to be my plan.
Ferocious search for the truth. And we know there were hundreds of people on Horn Island. Many of them have contacted us saying that they believe that they need to tell the family their truths directly. We don't want too much time to go by when memories get foggy, when people start to feel pressure. They heard a law enforcement person say no foul play, so they don't feel like if they say anything, it's going to be attacked. No. Tell us. We want to evaluate every aspect to be able to give Christine and Elmore answers as to why Nolan Wells is dead and not with us.
I want to put a reward up for $50,000 for anybody that could give the information that will lead to an arrest and a conviction in the case of what happened.
First, I want to give all thanks and honor and glory to God for choosing Elmore and me to be Nolan's parents. We thank you, Lord, for the beautiful 18 years that you blessed us with him. Thank you for the joy he brought not only to our family, but also to his friends and everyone in the community whose lives he touched. Nolan had such a gentle, calming spirit about him. He had a way of making people feel seen, welcome, and valued. He could lift your confidence with just a few words and make you feel like you belonged. If you ever had the privilege of meeting our son Nolan or calling him a friend, then you experienced a glimpse of God's love through him. He was both protective and nurturing. He often told us that one day he wanted to have 3 daughters that he would name Sophia, Charlotte, and Olivia. He had a deep love for the Lord and an unwavering faith that was evident in the way he lived his life. As much as our hearts are broken, we find peace in knowing that our son is resting in the arms of the Lord. We will miss everything about him, from his quiet nature to the corny jokes, his gentle smile, the way he made everyone around him feel comfortable, loved, and at ease. Your absence has left an emptiness that can never truly be filled. A piece of our hearts will always be missing. Nolan, your father and I are incredibly proud of you. We've always been proud of you, of the young man you were, and we will always be proud of the legacy of love, kindness, and faith that you have left behind. In a world that can often feel dark, be like Nolan. Be the light that brightens the lives of those around you. Be the warmth for those who may be feeling the coldness of the world. Love deeply, protect fiercely, and welcome others with kindness, and remain faithful knowing that God is always with you. Lastly, I ask that each of you keep Nolan's memory alive. Hold him close in your hearts. Share his stories and never stop saying his name. As long as we continue to remember him, his light will continue to shine through us all. Nolan, we love you. We'll continue to fight for you. Yes. And until we meet again, and thank you all for coming. Thank you.
You guys gotta excuse me. I might be kind of all over the place a little bit. Just from first of all, I want to say out of all my kids, Nolan was the one that would crawl backwards on the regular. Like babies crawl forward, he would crawl backwards, and he had this crazy haircut that I don't know. You had to see it to know him. But I want to start off by saying how proud I am of you, my son. You grew up to be a very young man that everyone enjoyed to be around. The constant lectures from me about having character, self-respect, self-discipline, and perseverance really hit home with you at an early age. These were the things that I had to live through. You never picked up a basketball. You never shot one. We didn't have a actual basketball goal. The only thing we had was that Walmart special, the little plastic one that everybody breaks in the first few days. But on that first day of trials, you shocked me and your mom. And just to make a long story short, you, Jalen, and Javon won y'all first championship together. Middle school was even more exciting because you were not just making a name for yourself on the football field, the basketball court, and the baseball diamond, but you were also laying the groundwork for your little brother Elmore. I nicknamed you Mr. Cool Hands because it seemed like you was catching a touchdown every game. You wanted to be the best. So I poured all my knowledge into you that I could by taking you to the gym to work out, taking you to the beach to do drills in the sand, teaching you how to watch film, how to study your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. And you carried these teachings all the way through high school and had an amazing run. Also during that time, you made a lot of friends. You helped a lot of people and became well liked by many. It really warmed me and your mother's heart when we would get a phone call or an email from a teacher talking about something that you did for a fellow student. All the teachers love Nolan. The day you came home from college, you came in the room and you asked me about training. You would always ask us, or always tell us about things that you want to do for us. When you signed with a school, you want to do this and take me and your mother there. And I would always tell you that, son, you need to take it one day at a time. During this time, you trained, you worked out. The bond with your younger siblings grew stronger because they looked up to you for motivation, especially your younger brother, which played the same position that you did. You guys' competition, Cannon, Nolan loved you, and he wanted you to do just as good as he did. Ethan, the same way. Even though you weren't a receiver, he wanted you to do great things. Carly, Jaden, with you guys being the oldest, he wanted the best for you guys. And I know that he would have did anything he could to make you guys happy. I just want to say thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for coming out to celebrating our son. Nolan meant a lot to a lot of people. And today it just shows us how much he meant to the community, to the country, and to the world. Thank you guys again for coming out. We appreciate it.
Reverend Al Sharpton and National Action Network and Mr. Tyler Perry, because we're in a ferocious search for the truth. And we know there were hundreds of people on Horn Island. Many of them have contacted us saying that they believe that they need to tell the family their truths directly. For whatever reasons, they said, we may call the law enforcement agencies, but we want to tell you all the truth of what we saw or what we videotaped or photographs we took. And we believe that everybody should want the same thing, the truth. And it is imperative, as soon as possible, do not let time continue to, it's been 2 weeks now almost. Let's intensify, and that's why I'm grateful for the reward. Let's intensify this search for the truth, because they have a tendency to sweep things under the rug as time goes by. We don't want too much time to go by when memories get foggy, when people start to feel pressure. They heard a law enforcement person say no foul play, so they don't feel like if they say anything, it's going to be attacked. No. Tell us. We want to evaluate every aspect to be able to give Christine and Elmore answers as to why Nolan Wells is dead and not with us. And so with that, we will take your questions if you have any.
Please identify your outlet and say your name.
Today, I'm praying for your family, and I hope you get answers to your questions soon. I just want to know, with the community turnout, the football players and the state reps, everybody who came out today, what does that mean to you and your family?
That means a lot. Again, that is a testament to who Nolan is and was as a person, how many people he touched. It's also a testament to those who have questioned our parenting, what type of parents we are to all of our children. And we just cannot thank our community enough for rallying around us during this time. Also, again, to Colin Kaepernick, Tyler Perry, Byron Allen, just so much love from places we could have never imagined, and we're grateful.
The truth, I think that we need to hear exactly with evidence of what they say happened. I think that part of what embellished the concerns we had was for someone in law enforcement here to say we see no foul play. So they're really going to have to show us one way or another where they go from here. The fact is that you cannot convince many of us, given the unanswered questions, cell phones, stuff taken off the cell phone, keys, all of which was at first denied. And no one turned, they did not come to the family. The family started missing him and searching for him. All of that does not add up. So what we would want to see is something that adds up to the same truth, not adds up to just some loosely connected stories.
The only thing I would add to Reverend Al's answer to your question, what is transparency to us? It is truly having a fair and impartial investigation as if Nolan, the facts were reversed. I mean, it's inescapable. People often talk about, well, you all keep interjecting race. Well, y'all know in every situation that is a identifier when you're talking about matters. We hear black on black crime. It's inescapable. And so we want to really be able to say to this family, but to America, it was a fair investigation. Everything they did had the roles been reversed racially, where they had 3 young black men and a white man died after being on the boat. You have his cell phone. Those are the things that we're searching for. Did you search their phones? We talking about Nolan's phone. Those are the questions that transparency, the autopsy. we waiting for it. It shouldn't take that long. We want those answers. And so transparency is giving complete equity to this family. A fair and thorough, impartial investigation where we know that due process was respected every step of the way. And many have questions, and so we are trying to be respectful and collaborative as much as we can. We will hope that they will give the same to us.
Attorney Crump, we talked before about situations like this, and I'm just wondering, does it bother you a little bit that we don't have that news conference where officials are given a timeline, where they map things out for what they know, where they share as much information as they have with the public? Because obviously people are paying attention.
Yeah, you know, Ryan, it's always troublesome to all of us when these investigations just take forever. I mean, 6 months to get a toxicology report back, to get an autopsy done, as if, you know, the longer we let it go, the more people forget. Other things happen. It gets swept under the rug. And so that's what's important, to have a timeline. And when you don't have that timeline, you start to say, oh, what Nolan Wells, what happened? I mean, I remember that case, but we got no answers. And so that's the trouble without having a timeline. And so that's why the people who are calling us, I mean, we have people presenting videos, and it's so helpful as we try to put this puzzle together. People are talking about their boats, and when they were out there, and when they were in earshot of Nolan and people on the boat, we need all of that information because we want to make sure what goes to the grand jury is accurate. Right. We know when it goes to the grand jury, we never will know what happened in that grand jury. That's why we're collecting affidavits. Did this get presented to the grand jury? It's never lost on me. It's never lost on me. You can get an indictment on a ham sandwich in the grand jury if you want to. The question is, are you trying to get to the truth? Or are you trying to help keep the truth hidden from us? And that's what we're fighting for. The last thing I would say is this, and it's important. You know, there are people who are presenting videos, photographs that may show Nolan was on the boat with the person, Katie. We got to fully bet that I respect so much what my mentor, Reverend Al, said up there. We're going to go wherever the truth leads us. We want the truth, no matter who it implicates or exonerates. We want justice, no matter who it acquits or convicts. So we know they're telling two different stories. You know, the boys telling one story, Katie telling one story. What is the truth?
That sounds like me and my wife did an excellent job at raising a fine young man. Yes. Nolan was loved by many, both young and old. He helped a lot of people. No matter if you were regular or handicapped, people still love Nolan. He would help special needs. He would help special needs kids all the time. Basketball, teach them how to play basketball. I mentioned in my speech about getting phone calls and emails. There was a father who asked Nolan to help his special needs son train for basketball, and Nolan did it willingly, and that made that kid's day. And he seen me out one day, and he couldn't stop thanking me and praising me enough for the son that I raised and how much that meant to his son. So, as far as I'm concerned, we did a great job.
Yes, you did.
Absolutely. This is actually something my cousin Keezy and I have briefly discussed. But of course, with everything that's going on, we want things to kind of cool down a little bit. My husband and I, honestly, we have not fully processed this. We have not fully grieved Nolan, but that is the plan, is to come up with some foundation, just honor him, but also to United Cajun Navy. Big help, boots on the ground almost immediately after I spoke with Josh Gill. So, you know, we have to remember those types of organizations in our communities and utilize them, but also give back to them. So that is our hope, that we'll be able to give as much as we've been given during this time.
And just on that last question, very good question. Christine and Elmore and Cliff Jones and Lisa Park at the office, they talk frequently, and that's one of the things she stressed at the funeral service. She wanted to celebrate his life and celebrate, define what his legacy will be. So we look forward to working to define his legacy. Nobody else is going to define his legacy but the people who knew him best. Yeah. As it relates to the independent autopsy, we are looking to have findings sooner rather than later. Obviously, you want stuff from the first autopsy because they had the body closer to time. We got the body almost 6 days later, Dr. Roger Mitchell. So there are limitations as to what he could do. So, you do the best you can, but there are unanswered questions. So he's getting his report together. I believe it will be coming very soon. Yeah.
Then came the question about the phones. Not just Nolan's, the other young men's too. Crump laid out exactly where that stands right now. Here's what he said.
I did communicate that to the district attorney. Whether they're going to do that, that's a question that you have to ask them. But we thought that it's only fair if we're going to look at Nolan's phone, we should look at the other people who were with Nolan that day. Because, again, we just want equal justice. We think that if Nolan was on that boat, roles were reversed, they would look at his phone, and so that is going to be important. We have not established a time yet of when we're going to do the mutual inspection of the cell phone. We have to do some technical things. We're getting our experts together, working with phone companies and so forth, but we hope to do that sooner rather than later. This was a big first step for the family getting through the day, so now we can get laser focused on all those things to finish this investigation. They had weather issues, so I do think they got the body Friday night or Saturday morning, around that time.
Is that the same day that the autopsy was?
I can't confirm that. I know they received the body, and I think they immediately went to it. It will be in the report the date they did the autopsy.
Somebody in the room brought up the rally planned for the 26th, asked if it was still happening. Crump made it clear it was, and what it's actually about. Here's what he said.
Well, I think that was the community, people who are activists who we're very grateful, standing up, demanding a fair and impartial investigation. And we want to say thank you to all the community leaders and activists standing up saying, no, we want a timeline. We want transparency. We want them to check cell phones. We want everything that you would have done had it been your child. So that's what...
Evening on 4 July when we first got a call. I think the first dispatch came in through one of our channels, through either a family member or family friend of Nolan's, who ultimately put our incident commander in touch with his mother, who at that point was in full-on search mode. She at that point was very concerned that he was actually missing and was doing everything. They were doing everything they could to kind of retrace the steps, get his phone, get his keys, all that. So really, it was the next morning when we were told that there was going to be another boat going out, possibly containing some of Nolan's family. I'm not sure what the details were of that. In the morning on 5 July, that would have been Sunday. And by late morning, we had gotten basically another call saying, hey, if you guys have any boats in the area and can go out there and canvass the island, would appreciate it. So I had two of my volunteers from the Mississippi chapter from Ocean Springs, actually, that put in like say midday on 5 July. They went out to Horn Island. They went on the island first, took a drone, looked around all over from an aerial view, and then they ran a grid between Horn Island and Ship Island with the boat. Both of these volunteers, one's a rescue specialist, one's actually a member of law enforcement, so they have a lot of experience. And they stayed at it for a few hours, and then the weather started to deteriorate, so they came back in. That's when we knew we were done for the day on 5 July. We made the decision that on 6 July, if the weather permitted, we were going to put an aircraft up because we were getting further and further away from the last time Nolan was seen alive. So that's when we put that aircraft up. We were wheels up out of Gulfport International at about 06:30 on 6 July. So the way that happened is, my understanding is that when people started posting on social media about Nolan being missing, that a lot of people started tagging the United Cajun Navy, basically just kind of making us aware that this was going on, and then ultimately kind of sequencing to asking us for help. Like I said, there was an official message. I don't know if it came through our voicemail or through one of our email or one of our social media messaging platforms, but somebody made contact with, and our incident commander, I think, was either monitoring messages or one of our people monitoring told him about the message that came through. Whoever that person was, it wasn't Nolan's mother, but whoever it was knew her and knew how to get in touch with her, and ultimately put our incident commander in touch with Christine that night on 4th July.
One thing.
They were pretty similar to, for most part of the day, they were pretty similar to the conditions on the 4th of July. They were fairly calm. There was strong currents, but not really big waves, not a lot of wind. It was very hot. Water temperatures were upper 70s, low 80s. Toward the late afternoon, a little front moved in from the west, and presumably it chopped up the Mississippi Sound at that point. But again, our guys aborted when they saw that weather coming. So that was probably like by 3 or 4 o'clock the afternoon of 5 July is when they had to abort that search. And then that night when I huddled with my team, that was when we made the decision that, putting out another boat on Monday, presumably with the weather clearing up, was really going to be futile because, at this point we're getting too far away from the last time he was seen alive. So we needed to cover more ground quickly, and that's why we had to use an aircraft.
Thrasher was also asked about something that hadn't been made public yet. The actual state and position Nolan's body was in when it was found. Here's what he was willing to share.
Yeah, so again, just to put it into perspective, it was, I'm told it was about 08:45 on 6 July when a park ranger on Horn Island discovered the body, called him in to law enforcement. We had myself and the gentleman who donated his plane that day out of Gulfport. We had been flying for about 2 hours at that point. We were making a track going from Horn Island over to Ship Island down to Chandelier Island, which is south of both of those islands, about another 30 miles. So we were coming back up north towards the northwest tip of Horn Island when we noticed there were boats in the center of the island where there's a lagoon, and then we saw some boats approaching the northwest tip. And then when we got closer, we noticed there were 2 boats already parked in tandem on the beach. That was strange. It was a Monday morning. It was obvious they weren't fishing. So we descended and to about maybe 450 feet, 500 feet, and we could tell it was law enforcement boats, law enforcement personnel. So we descended maybe another 100 feet or so, circled around, and that's when I saw a law enforcement presence gathering on that northwest point, and then I noticed that there was what appeared to be a body right at the shoreline. From that height, right? So it's best I can do. The description matched Nolan Wells. It matched the area. It was the area where we were looking. So I had good reason to believe, even before I heard from the sheriff's office, that it was him. The swim trunks appeared to be similar color to what was reported. The one thing I'll say about the condition of the body, and again, I want to stress very, as much as I can, that I'm at 450 feet in the air. So I did not have a good ground's eye view look. But normally when a body's been floating, you'll see some bloating and whatnot. He wasn't in the water that long. The water temperature was high. He has a low body mass index, so both of those factors together. Normally we'll look for a body to pop up on about day 4, but we knew it was possible he could pop up as soon as day 2, and this was day 2. Again, the body, I'm trying to think of the most respectful way to say it. The body did not seem at that height to be disproportionate to the way it should look. Now, I could not get a good look at his face. I could not get a good look of the front side of his body, which was on the beach. I was really looking at his back of his legs, back of his arms, that kind of thing. And so that was my vantage point, and I just want to stress to everybody that that's not an ideal vantage point. It's just what I could see, and plus I'm flying at like 90 knots. So I mean, there was a shrimp boat worker who had gone off MOB, man overboard, off of a shrimp boat in Pascagoula, which is on the coast, like close to Horn Island, and it took about a week before we found him, but he had washed up all the way down at the Chandelier Island. So that could have also influenced my pattern of thought, just because in a similar, I mean, he didn't go overboard on the island, but it was in a similar area, and he got carried through that channel. Based on where Nolan washed up, my assumption, and again, I'm a search and rescue person, I'm not an investigator, but it seems like what happened was he was carried north, which indicates to me that he might have got caught in a rip current, and it carried him north, and then as the tide slacked and the current changed back to a southward heading, it carried him right back to the beach. The only thing that really stood out to me that I was not expecting is that he washed up very, very close to the last spot where he was seen alive. I wasn't expecting that. I think that the biggest thing that stands out for me, and I think this sort of is why I understand the way that his parents have gone about this search and the whole case, is that there's just seems to be no information past about 4:30 that afternoon on July 4th until he was found. Now, I'm told that police have interviewed up to 60 witnesses. There's a lot of people who have turned in images and videos to us, and there's people I know that have turned images and videos over to law enforcement. So there's a lot about this. There's a lot of evidence in this case I have not personally seen, and a lot of accounts I have not heard. But based on everything that people did offer to us, it's just very, it's just hard to understand why, his friends leave, sometime around 4:30. That seems to be about the last time somebody said they visually saw him on the island with a different friend group, and then just nobody ever saw him again after that. And so that's why I like I said, I fully understand the parents are like, I mean, it's like a vanishing, and that doesn't make any sense. So of course they want to accept every bit of help they can get and just have it looked into as thoroughly.
And only a theory. A rip current may have pulled Nolan north before the shifting tide carried him back to shore. Weeks earlier, a shrimp boat worker lost near Pascagoula had drifted some 30 miles before being found. Bodies in these waters travel. That's what makes this so strange to him. Nolan washed up remarkably close to the last place anyone saw him alive. He wasn't expecting that, and his biggest takeaway echoes everything this family has said. After roughly 4:30 that afternoon, the information simply stops. In his words, it's like a vanishing. So here's where everything stands. 2 autopsies, still sealed. A reward now at $125,000. 60 witnesses interviewed. Phones awaiting inspection. And 2 accounts that cannot both be true. If you were on Horn Island that day, say something, because Nolan's family deserves answers. Like this video and subscribe to True Crime Vic, and we'll bring you the truth the moment it breaks.